What do you say?
Well, Samson, thank you very much. Just grant me 1 second to share again my condolences with one of my communicators who passed away in Asenov, Francis Nketia. Yesterday
Is it the same person you and I spoke about when you were there? We spoke to you on phone.
Yes. Yesterday was his 1 week celebration. I was supposed to be there, but I was prevented by a certain pressing matter to do with the party, and I wasn't able to go there. So my condolences to the family and wife and children. Samson, listening to Felix, and then maybe the other NDC spokespersons on this matter, I'm tempted to believe that somehow the NDC knows how to use an IGP to influence an election outcome. And if they do, they should tell us how they did it in the past so all of us can learn. But as far as I am concerned, in observing this Fourth Republic, there is no evidence whatsoever that a police IGP can singularly determine an electoral outcome for any political party for that matter. So we in the MPP, we don't have any evidence of that. We don't know how to do it, but somehow they know how to do it. They must tell Ghanaians how to use an IGP to influence election in their favor. So we all know how not to do it. So the thing about this tape, something is that it's concerning. Now, I have made a deliberate effort not to listen to it because for me, I see it to be a possibility of many things. While I agree principally for the parliamentary inquiry committee that is put together to look into it, they must do their job diligently. We're all interested in the matter. But it worries me to say that before that committee's work or any committee dealing with this tape comes up with any report, there seemed to be a conclusive position from the NDC, collectively focused to come to the place to say that this is MPP. I don't get it. That was why I raised the concern that if they know how to use an IGP to rig an election, they should show us, because we don't know, and there's no evidence in this Fourth Republic, and I'll show you some evidence.
But the question about politicizing the matter, you are hearing people of politicians, so to speak,
right,
and you are hearing them say, this is for the purpose in federance of MPPs, agenda, break the eighth. So who is politicizing it?
Right. But I'm referring to the NDC's conclusive position. Now, even let me just deal with what you just raised. So, assuming that these people are political operatives, you're looking at capacity, right? Who are these people? Do they have capacity in relation to the New Patriotic Party to take those decisions or to be making those negotiations on behalf of the party? And I tell you, it's zero.
Okay.
Right? You didn't hear my general secretary on that. You didn't hear my national chairman on that. You didn't hear any of our party executives on that. You didn't hear me.
A former regional
We're talking about executives.
Okay. Right.
Right? You didn't hear me on that tape. So what is the capacity of people who are sitting somewhere whose the authenticity of that tape has not been verified yet? So the conclusive position of the NDC is worrying. And I say that they should tread cautiously. Now, Felix was very emphatic about Honorable Damboche's position and say, he should know better. Again, is it something they know to do with an IGP and election that they are not telling us? Because if you read something that is very tricky to side or agree with the former OSP, but he did some analysis and suggested that you couldn't use an IGP to rig an election even if you wanted to. Suggesting that, assuming Felix was saying about if he's in charge of the operational issues of the election, deploying people to go here, district, regional commanders and all of that, that he has the capacity to do that. And he went to say that even if you did that, there are people in the service who, as a matter of conscience, would probably go tell on you that this is what you're doing. So unless the NDC has a way, there's a foolproof way they do it, They should tell us. But as a matter of fact, that this tape should be investigated. The concerns, the matters raised there are concerning. But I know for sure that in relation to the appointment of the IGP, the president has the capacity, is vested in the president, the power to appoint is vested with the president. So if the president appoints, if he needs, there's a reason he wants to disappoint, subject to performance or lack of performance, he could do that. And so it doesn't lie in anybody's conspiracy for the president to act. That power rests with him. And he has not indicated anything in that direction. And that's why I would disagree with Felix when he is disagreeing with the Interior Minister to suggest that, the Interior Minister appears somewhat flippant in making his comment to say that the IGP stays put. I don't understand how he comes to that conclusion. The Interior Minister is a sector minister under whom the IGP works. So if he speaks in a manner he spoke to say that the IGP has no question to answer, to that extent, he stays at post. The minister represents the president in that ministry, and so has spoken and therefore spoke the mind of the president. So I'm not sure how Phyllis and the NDC think they can speak. He's not the only person who has made that point. I've heard in Parliament, I think Honorable James Ahiagbah and the rest who've commented on this matter in Parliament talk about how is it that the minister should investigate a thing when he sees there's nothing to be investigated. What is there to investigate? Samson, if people just sit somewhere to make commentary that has no effect in terms of action, has no effect on you who is supposed to run this program. So we should investigate them, we should arrest them just because they say something, not in relation to you, something they said that you cannot be influenced by. So certainly we should investigate. Now the idea, just a minute. So then what it is that I understand the Interior Minister to say is that then you end up investigating anything anybody brings up. But he has a principal job of ensuring the security of the state. Right. You don't want to put him on the wild goose chase just because somebody records something and put it out.
In 2012, in April, I'm reading the story about political parties reject MPP's call for dismissal of IGP. And your General Secretary then, Kojo Wuse-Friye, alias John, had raised issues about Paul Terry-Akwe and suggested that he was biased in the discharge of his duties. And so some of the parties also responded, including Johnson Esedo and Ketia. But interesting, you had flag bearer of the United Front Party, Akwesi Adai, saying, quote, he said that the IGP had taken sides arresting only MPP supporters. He said similar things occurred during the MPP regime. He alleged that in Ashanti region, the police helped MPP supporters to vote more than 20 times, while the then IGP, Patrick Quarting, turned a blind eye. Akwesi Adai advised the MPP to desist from calling for IGP Paul Terry-Akwe's dismissal, since it also had national security implications. Then everybody else was saying. So I read this for you for purposes of the question you ask, Felix, that if the NDC knows how IGPs are used in elections, then they should tell you. This is not today.
Well, how does that...
the NPP has similar feelings about a certain IGP.
Well, I'm just saying that, well, if you have feelings about an IGP's conduct, you are free to say it. It's part of free speech. If you have concerns about the discharge of a person's job, should you not say it? But it's different from concluding that that person's job is leading to somebody winning election. Because there is no direct correlation there.
Okay.
You understand? Because in 2000, when we won the election, the IGP in charge, that was Peter Namfuri, was appointed by the NDC. How come you won? Was he not interested in engineering the election in their favor? Clearly, there's no evidence there. In 2008, when the NDC won the election, the same IGP, Patrick Quarting, whose name you just mentioned, was the IGP appointed by President Kufuor. Why did he not engineer the election in our favor? In 2016, John Kudalo, the IGP, NDC appointed. Why did not the election not go away? I'm just saying that.
I just pointed to Asawasi.
Yeah.
And during that by-elections, the NPP was in office.
Right.
And there was
Exactly.
foreign ballot boxes,
Right.
ballot boxes stuffed with, ballot papers
Right.
in a pickup truck. And the suspicion was that it was engineered by the NPP. I raised the alarm. The police commander in Ashanti region ensured that that vehicle was impounded.
That's it. At the very heart of the NPP's stronghold. And I'm saying that I don't have a problem. And I think that Honorable Damboche said that, and I took issue with it because I think that Felix was not being fair. I don't think we in the NPP have a problem with that audio tape. It's out there, had to be investigated. We're committed to that. But the conclusive nature of the NDC's communication is troubling. That they have come to a certain position to say that it's NPP. That makes me worry. One, is it a set-up situation that somebody is putting this thing out there to preempt a certain conversation? Who is possibly the person who must have done that? It's interesting for us to know through this investigation. But nobody at present can come to any conclusion on the matter of this tape and the rationale behind it. And so therefore begin to make pronouncements that lead to convicting a certain political party.
You're saying that even though you have a former regional chairman of the party on this tape, of the NPP on this tape, you have a confessed party person in the police, senior officer, who was allegedly also seeking to contest elections as an MP or whatever, however, we don't know, also on this tape. Your point is that this is not an officially sanctioned thing, and that even in any case, these people don't have what it takes in the party for the NDC to elevate the seriousness of the tape the way they are doing. That's what you're saying.
I didn't say that, but some said, if you are able to tell me that the person on the tape is Mr. A, who confesses that is MPP, then Mr. B, who is the police officer, Mr. C, who is that, then maybe you can engage me in that conversation. And that's exactly. Well, I don't know, but then it means that the investigation Parliament is calling for is pointless. Then we should just go ahead and name the people and then be done with it, right? But if we have to be methodical, if we have to do this the right way it ought to be done, I think that we should wait and go through the process.
Okay.
But until that, anybody who is being conclusive in saying A or B, I think, Samson, you have a responsibility to tell them to tread cautiously, because really what it is that you are preempting a certain outcome. Okay. And I think that is dangerous to be able to do that. All of us, I personally am interested in finding out, because I can tell you that the New Patriotic Party, we've never benefited, we've never orchestrated to win election with an IGP one way or the other. And I don't know what they know how to do with an IGP.
The president even said that the Electoral Commission cannot do anything about elections. Some disagree.